the one thing that always strikes me as funny, especially being a Democrat and being at Fox, so regularly, is when we talk about this bias in the media, which of course Fox is also accused of, from a different direction, is the Fox perspective gets heard all the time. So while we all criticize this, left liberal bias in the news, here we sit at the #1 rated network who gets criticized the other way. I think in the end of the day, whether you agree that Fox is fair and balanced or not, no matter what your politics are, if you put all the media into one big pot, it's fair and balanced if you get your information from multiple sources.
Eric, I have to disagree with you. But
finally, good. All right.
The first thing I'll say is that President Obama demonstrated in 2008 that for a constitutional law professor, he's very comfortable with breaking the rules and changing rules that he's made. You remember he went back and forth on public financing for his campaign. At first he was going to accept it, and then he changed his mind, much to our campaign's chagrin. He had changed the rules of the game in the middle, and here we see another example of that. But in terms of the media bias, in 2008 at least, maybe it's changed dramatically in the last 4 years, but in 2008, accredited members of the press were registered Democrats to Republicans by 14-1. So maybe Fox represents one who it's fair and balanced, in my opinion, but people accuse it, as you say, people accuse it of being on one side.
But it's the #1 network, though.
It may be the #1 network, but it's competing against a vast network of other networks that I think in scale, and it's not just on the television that you're going to see this sort of ignorance or this ignoring of this issue with President Obama right now. It's on the blogs. It's on all of the citizen journalism that's been going on that usually comes from the other side and kind of rises up and permeates through the rest of the media we consume.
Well, and if I may interject, just in terms of you saying, Fox is the #1 network, news network, and yes, we're beating some other non-news channels as well, but the liberal Democrats are pretty well known to also have a lot of influence over the pop culture. We're not just talking about news channels. We're talking about, movies, sitcoms, certainly the comedy shows, Jon Stewart and whatnot. And, that other point of view bubbles up in a million different places, not just...
Yeah, but you know what? Social media, I'm sorry, but I really believe the playing field, because of social media, I have 4 social media magazines, so I consider myself a semi-expert in the space. Because of social media, any of us, any voter, can have a voice if they want to. So it's not fair to say that everybody who blogs is from the left or a Democrat. So you know what? All Republicans and you guys on the right, go ahead and blog too. We're all allowed to.
This is absolutely the truth, but the media is the message. And so when you have a type of media that is built on quick sound bites where you have to get somebody's attention very quickly, it's a lot easier to get your attention with pulling at somebody's heartstrings, which is a lot of Democratic issues do, at making jokes at kind of old stodgy dudes, which is what a lot of these other ads have done. And it's a lot more difficult to communicate it in a sound bite that lowering taxes is going to lead to jobs. It's just not that sexy.
Well, and you're right, and a lot of issues are a lot more complex than when you boil it down.
Well, they're all more complex, but the onus is on the voters. We ought to get our information from multiple sources,
and I think
not from headlines at USA Today or from watching, a 3-minute soundbite on TV.
Yeah.